Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
Let's be completely honest. Are you happy with your job? The fact is, a huge number of people can't say yes to that. Too many of us are stuck in a job we've outgrown or one we never really wanted in the first place. But we stick it out and we give reasons like, what if the next move is worse? And I've put years into this place. And maybe the most common one, isn't everyone miserable at work? But there's a difference between reasons for staying and excuses for not leaving. It's time to get unstuck. It's time for Strawberry.me. They match you with a certified career coach who helps you get from where you are to where you want to be, either at your existing job or by helping you find a new one. Your coach helps clarify your goals, creates a plan, and keeps you accountable along the way. Go to strawberry.me/career and get 50% off your first coaching session. That's strawberry.me/career.
Hello, and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Brooke Brigham, I'm the attorney.
And I'm Tess Brigham, I'm the therapist.
And today we are continuing with our Sister Wives Rewind. We are on season 6, episode 13, called Boys Night Out. We skipped a couple of the recap episodes because
they inserted a few in this season randomly.
They had a couple, and I don't know, I find them boring. So we're moving on to this is a very meaty episode.
Yes. This is man heavy, man testosterone,
daddy issue heavy.
Lots of issues. Lots of issues. More issues than a magazine.
Right. But we start out by looking at venues for the commitment ceremony.
Oh, God, the fucking commitment.
Which is coming up, At
least it's all going to end at the end of this season, right? The commitment ceremony and the mission statement. We're not going to have to hear about that anymore.
No, but there's a lot more episodes to go through before we get there. This is a very long season.
It is.
It's super long, and there's a lot more to go. So, buckle up.
Yes.
Okay, so looking for venues for the commitment ceremony, and they show up at some place it's basically like a wedding venue. And Kody says, "I heard you were a conference center." Like they're really trying to distinguish this thing from a wedding. They don't want to say wedding venue or wedding. Yet it's exactly like a wedding because they're having a cake and they're having a ceremony and flowers and all the stuff you get for a wedding, but it's not a wedding.
Yeah.
And of course they have to tell the manager right away that they're polygamists.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he says, gay, straight, doesn't matter. We're not the government. We're capitalists.
Yeah. There we go.
But I thought it was interesting that they introduce themselves as polygamous, and he goes to gay or straight, and it's kind of like, huh? I thought that was weird. But,
but I think he was very much like, I don't give a shit. Like, do whatever. I don't care if the 5 of you are gonna, run a train on each other. I don't care as long as you pay the deposit. Like as long we don't care.
As long as you pay the $10,500.
Yeah, you can dance around and I mean, again, I think the producers make them do this every time, but again, it's like nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah, he says, we've never had a polygamous party here before.
But hey.
Yeah, and again, the Browns are quick to explain that this is not a vow renewal. This is a spiritual union and a marriage, and their vows are eternal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But of course, they look at this place and they all agree that this looks like a wedding venue, and the price starts at $10,500.
Yeah, again, just because you're not calling it a wedding doesn't mean the prices are going to be less.
Right.
Like,
right.
What do you think this is going to cost?
Right.
Or I don't know, but
they said prices start at $10,500 all inclusive. Does that mean like food and everything?
But I bet you that's like for 40 people. Or, right, like, I don't think you can invite that many people.
For $10,000? I think you can get more than 40 people.
Well,
maybe.
No, not really. Hello, we just hosted a party for our mother. It was a lunch.
Well, there was more than 40 people.
Yeah, I know, but
$10,000.
But hold on a second. We paid approximately $100 a head.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was just a lunch, an open bar. People weren't drinking that heavily. And that was it. So I don't, it's a lot more per head when you get into these things. Yeah. You're providing a lot more.
Yeah. So. It's more space. It's more time. It's more someone, to help cut the cake, even though it's not a wedding.
Yes.
So, that shocks them, that price point. So that it slows them way down.
Yes, it does.
So after that, we are, I don't know whose house we're at.
It's hard to know.
I think they're at Janelle's house. Anyway, so we see Brett, who is the guy who served a mission. He and Kody served together. They did a mission in South Texas when they were, I don't know, late teens.
Oh, this mission was in the U.S. I always assumed that these missions were outside of the country.
Some of them are, but
okay,
some of them are in the U.S. I think the more lucrative ones are, Mitt Romney did his mission in France, in Paris.
Ooh, that's nice.
So I think it depends on how well connected you are.
Yeah. Well, Mitt Romney comes from money, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
His father was the governor of Utah.
Okay.
Or not Utah. Where's the state? Was it Michigan?
Wyoming?
No. Michigan. I think Michigan. I don't know.
You can check the interwebs. No one cares.
Don't yell at me, people. He was the governor of a state, and they were well off.
Yes.
So Brett is back in town with his wife Ava, and so this Brett, he's one of the guys who Kody really bros out with.
Mm-hmm.
And
heavy.
In fact, Brett came to the wedding. We'll get Kody's wedding to Robin. And we'll get to that later, like when he talks about, because Brett didn't really stay very long and had to leave early, and it really made Kody sad. But so Sean, the trainer, Brett and Ava are all, I believe, at Janelle's house because they want to install these wrestling mats for Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And they're these huge, huge mats that would like cover the entire garage floor. And but there's not enough room in Janelle's garage because she's still got a bunch of boxes and stuff. And so Kody,
but she did clean out a lot.
Yeah, no, it wasn't cluttered.
It wasn't bad, but it was almost kind of like, where am I going to put my stuff?
Yeah. They wanted to have the mats go from like wall to wall.
Mm-hmm.
They basically just wanted one big wrestling room.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Kody asked Christine is there. He asks her, well, what about your garage? And Christine says, well, how often are you really going to wrestle? And Kody says, every day with Hunter.
I love that. I was like, every day. Like
every day.
He is like a child, like a little kid that's telling you, I will take care of the puppy.
Right.
I'll pick up his poop.
I'm going to walk the dog.
I'm going to walk the dog every day and feed it. Trust me, I've been sold that story. My son has not done a damn thing since day one. So, like a little kid.
Yeah. And, and he's really showing off in front of Brett and Sean. He's just trying to look so cool. And Brett says, well, talking about Christine's garage. She says, well, to Kody, well, isn't that your garage? Isn't it universal law that all garages are man caves? And you have 4 of them. And so this gets Kody even more,
Oh, yeah. He's got... Yeah. I will like to say that when I bought my house, when my husband and I bought our house, our garage became a man cave. I didn't even get a choice. I mean, I will say it did end up, but I have 2 boys. So, and I was looking for a way to just get them out of the house. I was like, great, you stay out there. But it is, I mean, they do love their man caves.
Yeah. So Christine says to Kody, well, I want to talk to you. And she says, alone. I want to talk to you alone. And then Kody says, oh, she's going to try to bribe me. And she does, basically.
Did we hear what she said to him? Because it was a very weird conversation. It was almost like she was like, are you going to be over at my house more? You know, if I let you have these mats, are you going to, is that what she said? Right? Yeah.
She says, I want you to be a better husband, spend more time at my house. I want more grocery money. I mean,
more grocery money?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
And she's not kidding. At first I was like, is this a joke? Like I was watching it like, is this a joke?
No, she's desperate.
Yeah.
She's desperate, and she knows that this wrestling mat thing means a lot to him. So she's using it to extort more grocery money and more time, which I'm sure never materialized.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. And Kody promises, they'll be using it every day. If not with Hunter, he'll be doing it with the other kids. And so she agrees. And so they take the mats over to her house. And there's so much broing out with the moving of the mats and installing the mats. And then they wrestle.
Yeah, for a long time. A lot of wrestling.
I'm sorry. I just find men's wrestling so uncomfortable to watch.
It's such a weird sport.
It really is. It's really weird. And especially since like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it doesn't seem very masculine to me, even though they think they act like, oh, this is so masculine. We're wrestling each other. I know this sounds horrible. This probably sounds terribly homophobic or whatever, but it's just weird to me.
Well, you know what it is? It's that because when women wrestle, it's usually done like in mud or jello or something like that, right? Or it's I think because men have sexualized that to women tussling.
Right.
And the way in which men, it's been like that because there's always this men like the idea of women fighting because they think at any moment they might start making out.
Exactly. It's like,
and that's their and that's their fantasy. But the flip side of it is, and I've heard this, on Howard Stern, George Takei talked about, he's very open about his relationship with his partner. And he always talks about how when they have sex, like it starts with wrestling. Like they wrestle with each other for a while, and that's kind of like the foreplay.
Yeah.
That's the pre-play. And so I do think that there is something, right?
Yeah.
Erotic, no matter who you're sleeping with.
Yeah.
And so, it's there, but when you see it is, you are right up in someone's junk. You are right up in there.
Well, that's the thing. It's like these macho guys, you've got your head in this other guy's crotch.
Yeah. You're wearing a singlet.
Yeah.
There's no way to look cool in that. And you're shoving your crotch in someone's face.
Yeah. And you're like
and pinning him down
in these holds for a really long time.
Yeah. Those holds seem to go on a long time with those two. It really did. It was very uncomfortable. It was funny to kind of watch everyone watching them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
there were little kids there.
There were little kids there.
And,
well, but Savannah was captivated, but like Christine looked like she was laughing the whole time. Like, this idiot.
She probably
These two idiots. I can't believe I just gave up my garage for him. And again, you know what? Remember, Kody always argued about the fact that he was over at Robin's a lot because Robin gave him a room to himself, or she let him use the garage, or that she was always providing. He had an office there, but because she provided an outlet for him, like he had space, so that's why he was there. And it's like, well, no, Christine provided space for you too.
Yeah,
you could have been wrestling every day.
Yeah, I wonder how many times they actually wrestled.
Yeah, how long did she let those mats sit in the garage?
Yeah. And then they show Hunter saying that he says, my dad likes to relive his wrestling career through, he says them, talking about Logan, he and Logan.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we have a little bit of wrestling time. And then this is when Kody talks about when Brett and Kody were on their mission together. That's when Wynn married his second wife.
Okay.
The one we've never seen.
So not Cheryl. Not Cheryl, not Grandma Janelle.
Because Cody's still like a teen, basically.
And he hasn't met his sister yet, Janelle.
No. Yeah, and so, he says 1 year after Wynn married the second wife, Kody became a Mormon fundamentalist.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he got back from his mission, and I'm sure I think his dad was probably pressuring him, to also change, because he actually says as much in a later episode, talking about how Wynn wanted his sons to follow in his footsteps, and his brother Curtis did not, and that he became a born again Christian, and that kind of upset Wynn. But Kody, seeking like his father's approval, he went along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he left the Mormon church, and Brett, stayed in the regular mainstream Mormon church. And then they kind of parted ways for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Janelle talks about the testosterone Tuesday, and that hanging out with these bros made Kody a better husband. Oh. He's able to recharge in a way that we can't recharge him. Excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Well, essentially, it's like anything, right? It's like anything else, right? You need time with your friends. You need time. If you spend a lot of time with women, you need time with men. You need the masculine and the feminine energy. Did we not learn anything from twin flames? Escaping twin flames. You need the divine feminine and you need the divine masculine, right? Or no, we all have the divine, whatever that bullshit is that guy was selling.
Whatever it is. We all have it and we can go either way, basically.
Yes.
Your twin flame could be masculine, could be feminine, but whatever it is, you just have to go with it. That was the basic premise of it.
Yes.
So he continues to wax on about Brett. He says, this is what Brett says about Kody. He says, Kody is his longest term friend and best friend, who is a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he's concerned about Kody. He doesn't envy him.
Well, I wouldn't envy him either. No. I mean, this is hard. I don't know. Does anyone want this?
Most people don't. No.
Yeah.
So, Kody and Brett are going to go do some more bonding. And so the wives then take Ava to the zoo. And, I don't know, they're just talking.
Yeah, Ava's a interesting one.
Yeah, after they're looking at some animals, they sit down to have lunch. And like right in front of the kids, Ava says that when Brett told her that he had a polygamous friend, she said, "Ew, gross. He must be some kind of a pervert or a horrible person." And she's saying this in front of like the little kids.
Yeah.
Talking about their dad. And then she says, but then when she met Kody, she realized he was so sweet.
Yeah. She was interesting. I mean, again, I think she was being forced by the producers to ask these questions or like start these conversations. But yeah, you could have phrased it differently. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you really
Say
want to say that on
pervert?
television and say pervert or pedophile or I don't know what is she said pervert?
She said pervert.
Okay. Yeah, it was very, very odd. And then I just want to go back to something that Robin says that she doesn't like animals of any kind. And I think that tells you a lot about a person. I'm just saying. I am just saying I'm an animal lover and I think
Yeah. Psych Legal Pop will be right back after these messages.
Hello, this is Tess Brigham, one half of the podcast Psych Legal Pop. When I'm not podcasting with my sister and analyzing pop culture, I'm a speaker who talks about mental health in the workplace. In today's post-pandemic hybrid working world, mental health matters more than ever. I specialize in empowering organizations to retain their valuable employees. I understand the unique challenges facing young adults in today's world, and I'm here to bridge the gap. So head over to my website, www.tessbrigham.com, to learn more about my speaking services and how I can help your organization reach new heights of success. Let's revolutionize your organization's approach to mental health and employee retention. Visit www.tessbrigham.com to explore how we can collaborate.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
And then Ava also, she's on a roll here with insulting these people. She also says, she points out that there's this lack of affection whenever the other wives are around, which we know, we've seen before. Because they're very jealous.
Yeah. Well, I also want to say something like, again, I hate people that are like all over each other, especially, in your face about it. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I think that you can love your partner and be with them and not stick your tongue down their throat constantly.
I don't think that's what she's talking about. But I mean, just even, they don't even touch each other. Like, put your hand on a shoulder, or like give a little side hug or a little, peck on the cheek. I mean, we're not talking about making out. They literally don't touch each other at all. That's I think what she's noticing.
I think Kody's little game is how many times can I touch Robin when everybody's in the same room?
Yeah. And do it without anyone noticing.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So then, after this day at the zoo, the wives...
And God, this is a zoo in Nevada. God, those animals must be so hot.
They can't be open in the summer. They must have to
God, it is awful there. I mean, there's got to be mist going. Like they do that in the grocery stores for the vegetables where they mist them. They got to, please tell me you're misting the animals.
Well, they would die.
That just seems miserable.
Yeah. How does that work? So then we just get some comments from the wives, I guess, about how it's going. Janelle says, we never eat together anymore. and then Meri starts talking about how, Janelle, Christine, and Robin all have younger kids. And she's really upset about Leon leaving and having this, quote unquote, empty nest. And I don't know. I started to feel sorry for Meri at this point.
I really feel for Meri. These episodes that I've been watching, I am really feeling for her. And when I first watched these episodes, I thought, I did think to myself, God, that, yeah, she's right. This is really hard because your spouse isn't going through this at the same time. But the more you see it, the more you see how much Kody left her out,
left her
out in
a
sea all by herself. And because of these past relationships with Christine and Janelle, they're not going to go seek that. And so all she really has is Robin, who maybe will ask her, but she really is alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
And
it is. And it is. And I mean, and that's really hard. You can't underestimate like your only kid, like leaving home. But of course they come back, you know.
Well, you went through this. So what was it like for you?
It was very hard. And I didn't have a partner to commiserate with or go through it with, you know, and I had to do everything myself. And, you know, it was super emotional. Sometimes it was just downright horrible, you know? And so, yeah, it's very, very hard and especially to do it alone. And I think Meri basically might as well be alone.
Yeah, she is, essentially.
Yeah.
Because her partner's not asking her how she feels. Again, you don't have to be going through something to empathize with someone else and say, how can I support you? How do I help you through this process? You know? But is it better? I would assume you feel better now, right? It's been 3 years. So how long was it terrible? Or hard, I should say.
Well, a lot of the lead up to it is hard, you know, because you're just
like when Layla graduated,
like that summer, and like the clock is ticking away, and then it's like, oh my God, you know, you're leaving in a week, and then, so a lot of that is very emotionally draining, and then, you know, the actual leaving them there, getting in your
that would be, I think that would be the hardest thing because Layla started off in Hawaii and I cannot imagine like dropping, like her taking you to the airport and like turning around and having to go and just leaving her there.
Yeah.
Like, well, that would be,
I had to, so we were staying in an Airbnb and I was leaving the next morning and, you know, we'd gone out to dinner. And we were sort of like procrastinating, like taking her back to her apartment. Yeah. And just like bawling in the parking garage and then having to like get in my car, drive to the Airbnb alone and be alone all night and then have to fly back the next day. And then, the first several months, it's really, really, really hard. And then it starts to get easier and easier. But I would say it's only been this year for the first time when I didn't cry saying goodbye to her. And then even she was just here last weekend visiting and I started tearing up and she's like, Mom, don't cry.
But she doesn't get emotional?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
She did the first couple of times, but she got over it much faster than I did. You know, it depends on the day, the situation.
Well, because they're also, right, they're going off to an adventure. That's the thing. Like, if you have a partner who travels a lot, or I have friends that are actors and such, and I've seen this where, you know, one works more than the other one. And it's hard. Like, the person that's leaving is going on this great adventure, going to do this film role, going to, you know, go to college and all this. And the person who's left behind, that's a harder role to be in.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that it is, you know, with your kids, it's just, you don't want your kids to have any pain or hardship at all, but you know, that's part of life and that it's an important part of life and they've got to feel it. But just the idea of like, oh my God, I'm going to leave you here. Like I'm leaving, it's getting terrifying. Off this island.
Yeah.
And I'm getting, I mean, especially your situation where it's an island, like I'm getting, you know, and I have to go and I have to trust that you're going to figure it out and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that versus Dad taking me to the airport and telling me to take it easy.
Take it easy. Yeah.
Take it easy. There were no tears.
Well, you know,
not a one.
I just thank God for iPhones and FaceTime because I don't know. I can't imagine your child being that far away and really not being able to have any contact with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, we're old, but like we didn't have cell phones.
No.
We had to share a phone, you know, like in a sorority house with a bunch of people. And back then there were long distance charges. It was expensive to call home.
Yeah. So people didn't, people didn't
really
want to use it. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was really hard to get a hold of your parents and vice versa. But now, like we text and FaceTime, you know, multiple times a day, and thank God, because it doesn't feel as like I still feel like I'm part of her life, part of her day. And it's much, much better. I can't imagine
well, and so imagine that Dad takes me to the airport. I'm flying across the country. They had no way of getting in touch with me.
Mm-hmm.
No way of getting in touch with me. Like,
I know,
until I called from a payphone.
From a payphone. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I feel for Meri.
Yeah, I do. It's just really, really, it's so hard. And, you know, the other thing too is Meri is how old? She married Kody when she was 19. She had Leon when she was what, 21, 22?
22 or 23.
So, I mean, she's also 40.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She's young. She's like, as you know, as people go, she's young. She's got half her life in front of her. And that's hard too. She isn't, you know, and feeling like there's no one here that's going through what I'm going through. Anyway,
yeah.
Kody really could have been better during this time.
Yeah. No, he wasn't. Everyone just kind of abandoned her. And then they got mad at her.
Yeah.
You know, they got kind of mad at her, like, oh, you're never around. You're not part of the family and you're not doing. And it's like, well, oh, yeah. What is she supposed to do?
And the other thing is, is she supposed to go to Christine's house every day and say, how can I help you? And what should I do? I mean, I think that's the sister wife attitude, but I will say it's not just Kody. Like, it doesn't sound like anybody else, again, maybe Robin, I don't know, but it doesn't sound like anybody else in the family supported her too through this. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they're so focused on, you gotta be friends. And it's like, you know, what would happen if you just created some respect,
just be supportive of each other,
supportive and respectful. Yeah. So what does that look like? And what does a supportive friend, you know, family member look like? Well, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
You know, anyway.
Well, meantime, Kody and Brett and Sean are going to go jump off the Stratosphere.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Were there three guys together or four guys together?
I think
was it just the three of them? I kept feeling like there was a fourth, but I think I'm wrong. Okay. Yeah. This Stratosphere thing looked crazy.
I would never do that.
I would never do
insane.
this.
No. Here's the funny part. Brett goes first and he's unfazed.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, woo, and just jumps. Same thing with Sean. No problem.
But each time Cody's watching it and Cody's like, man, he did it. He jumped. Whoa. And then again, Sean does it. Whoa, he went. He jumped. Whoa. Each time, I swear, I think he was praying that they would back out.
Yeah.
I think he was like, oh God, please, please, please back out.
He was scared.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yes, he was visibly scared. But he does it, and then he was so happy with himself.
Oh, yeah. He felt so like the testosterone rushing through his body. He's just like, oh, I'm just, this is my life. I'm a man.
So then they have a bro dinner at the Stratosphere. Have you ever had dinner there?
No. I don't think I've ever even been to the Stratosphere.
Yeah, I had dinner there once. A long time ago. It's pretty cool. Like, it rotates super, super, super slowly, but and all the seats face out the window, looking at the windows. So you can see the whole Las Vegas city.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's worth maybe doing. I mean, these days, they got that big dome out there. I mean, that's probably going to the Stratosphere is probably nothing.
That's old news.
Rinky dink, as opposed to like going and watching U2 and the Sphere, or watching Formula One racing or something happening in Vegas. It's so crazy there.
Yeah. So let's see.
What did we learn at the dinner?
Yeah.
I think it's just more polygamous talk.
I have some wives say when he is with one wife more than the others, he speaks and acts differently. Well, I bet you do.
Yeah.
Kody says he is in charge, not because of his anatomy, but because of his leadership. What a quote.
God, Kody.
What a quote.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, you are quite a leader. That you are.
He says, I am in charge of my family, but I do it subtly because these women are strong. Wow.
Oof.
So yeah, Thank
God for you, Kody. Thank God.
This is how he's describing his relationship.
This is at the dinner, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so this is him with his bros.
He's telling his bros like how it is, how he's in charge, and
these women are strong and they have opinions, but my opinion's the best, and they listen to me.
Bet that doesn't stop me from being in charge,
from just doing what I want to do.
And then somehow I don't know if this is. I think this is still talking at the dinner. There's some conversation about Janelle not leaving Wyoming to go to Utah.
Oh, yes.
Kody got his new job.
Yeah, that was an interesting story because I was like, so what is he saying in this?
Well, yeah. Why? I don't know why this comes up.
So the family's in Wyoming. Kody gets a job. And I guess essentially Kody takes the job. Takes a job out of state and definitely doesn't tell Janelle ahead of time, like, hey,
doesn't consult with anyone,
or even, hey, I'm interviewing for a job that's out of state. Is that gonna, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But he just kind of does this thing. And then he's shocked that Janelle's like, I'm not coming. Like, you didn't consult me.
Yeah. And so then I think she finally moved to Utah when they got that house, I believe.
But but then he said the solution was like, he was like, I didn't know what to do. So I just he left for Utah. So I guess I'm like, are you telling them, so, that's how I lead. I just went ahead and did it and she followed? Or was it more of he realized, well, I have to keep pushing forward and I have to trust that she'll like come eventually? I didn't get the point that he was trying to make, or what was his big solution, or how did he fix this quote unquote problem? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was trying to assert that like he was in charge, because that was the theme of the whole discussion, how he was in charge and he wasn't going to let her dictate what he did. He was going to move to Utah because that's what he wanted to do. And if she wasn't going to follow, because, they said they had separated. They called that a separation. Yeah, and I think only once he found that Lehi house. So I don't know where Christine and Meri were during all of this. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Well, wait. So maybe this was before Christine?
No.
Okay.
I think she had already had her first 4 kids, because I think Savannah and Gabe were born in Utah.
Okay.
I don't know. We got to get this. I used to know the timeline of that, but it slipped out of my mind. If someone knows it, please send us a message. That's just too much information to keep.
Yeah, I'm not a good researcher. I like, people will put together these charts and graphs, like, for Survivor and stuff, of like these, I was just listening to something the other day where one person in Survivor, because Jeff Probst is doing a podcast, and they're like, someone created this thing of every tribe color for every season. There's 46 seasons. I'm like, I could never put together that graph of how that works and why and who won and what does it mean. And I'm not. Yeah. But if someone has that stuff, it'd be great if you'd like to share it with us. I'd love a family tree or a map or something.
Timeline.
Yeah, timeline.
So then Kody asks Brett if he can come back for the commitment ceremony.
Ooh.
And this is when they talk about how Brett came to Kody and Robin's wedding, and he was at the guys' night out before the wedding.
Yes.
And he talks about how he misses Brett, and Brett left the wedding early, and Kody said that was the loneliest he felt all night.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he really has a bro crush on
Well, he does,
Brett.
but I also think there's something so... And again, and maybe this is just for television, but I do think that sometimes Kody reacts to things in a way where it's like, yeah, in that moment, you probably felt you felt sad, you felt lonely, you felt these feelings, but it's always so dramatic. It's like, it's the loneliest I've ever felt in my entire life that entire night. It's like, well, it was, you were sad to see him go, and it represented a lot when he left, but that's a little, and your wives are watching this, you know, like, okay.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then Meri gets into, we've already talked about this, about how, Leon's graduating and Kody's not going to be an empty nester. Let's see. Then her friend Andrea, who is also an empty nester, is making a blanket for Leon, sort of like the one they made for Logan.
She's not going to hire Robin's sister.
No.
She's going to do it herself.
She's going to get her own friend. Yeah, talking about how difficult this all is. Let's see. Meri's going through this completely alone. We've talked about all this, and I think that's the end of the episode.
Oh, wow. Really? Is that how it ended? Okay. That's abrupt.
That's all I have. Well, it kind of stretched on with the empty nest stuff, but we already talked about that earlier.
Yeah, no, I remember in the episode
times.
I remember she and her friend Andrea, they go to the fabric store and they look around and they come back, but I guess I didn't know that the episode ended there. All right.
Well, that's where I quit taking notes. I don't know. Sometimes at the end of these episodes, I just give up.
Well, the other thing too is that I think to myself, oh, I'll remember this.
Yeah.
Let me just write a few words.
I never do.
And I never do. Even if I've done it an hour before we record. And this, my friends are aging. I used to be able to like phone numbers and anything, like recite things, like figure that stuff out. And now if I do not write it down, it does not happen. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Very, very sad.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And, sometimes we have to watch these things in advance, because, we have jobs, and then we have to like watch this stuff when we can. And then.
Yeah, the recording.
And then record it. And yeah, if more than a day or so goes by, forget it. It's like, did I actually watch this? I have 5 pages of notes on it, but.
Yeah. I will say what's interesting is I'll go back and do like a rewatch of a series or something that I really liked. And it's like, God, I don't remember any of this. This is nice. It's like the first time around again. You're like, oh, yeah, okay. You binge watch a show you haven't binge watched in many years. You're just like, oh, I don't remember a thing. Okay, this was an episode? Yeah. Great.
I discovered a new show.
Yeah. And it's like the pleasure all over again.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will be back with another episode in the Brown saga. Yeah, we're going to be getting into the graduations, commitment ceremony.
And truly. That was intense. That was so intense. So intense.
Yes. Well, thank goodness Truly made it through.
Oh, God. Yeah.
She's now one of the heroes of the show.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. And like I said, our Sister Wives will continue on Tuesdays, and on Thursdays we're doing documentaries and other various shows that come up. And if you enjoy our podcast, please make sure you're subscribed, and please leave us a 5-star rating to help spread the word of our podcast. And you can spread the word yourself. You can share this episode or any episode with a friend. And if you want to engage with us on social media, we're at Psych Legal Pop on TikTok and Instagram.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Talk to you next time.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.